I'd like to call to order the Town of McCandless meeting of Town Council for June 22nd, 2026. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We'd like to start the meeting off with a few announcements. First of all, as at the previous Town Council meeting on June 8th, 2026, Town Council entered into an executive session regarding legal matters. That meeting concluded at 8:24 p.m. This evening, June 22nd, 2026, Council was in executive session regarding personnel matters from 5 o'clock until 7 or 6:58. Moving on. The Town Council is seeking applicants for the Director of Public Works. Please visit our website for more information. Applications are due no later than July 3rd, 2026. For all of you runners out there, walkers, strollers, everybody, our Town of McCandless birthday K is being held Saturday, July 4th at the North Park Roadhouse beginning at 9 a.m. Walkers, joggers, and runners of all levels are strongly encouraged to participate. To sign up, please visit our website for more information. The Town of McCandless is seeking applicants to fill a vacancy on our Planning Commission. Please visit our website for more information and note that applications are due no later than July 20th, 2026. Please join us on Thursday, June 25th, 2026 at 7 p.m. for Minutes Matter with the Passivant Foundation. This free program will go over life-saving techniques, including hands-only CPR, how to use an AED emergency care for seizures and more. This is an information-based program. No certificates will be given. Look at our website for more information. So now we will move on and ask to see if there are any public comment on agenda items only. And because we have a full house tonight, please approach, state your name and address, and you're reminded that you have 5 minutes for your comment. This is not a time for asking questions. We will not be able to answer all questions. We are here to hear your comments, and we appreciate you being part of the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Ellen Wright, 9635 Old Coomer Road, Allison Park, PA 15101. First of all, I wanted to apologize to the vice chair for not saying his name correctly. I have problems saying names, and so I have looked up the phonetic spelling and phonetic pronunciation, and it's Nick Gio Jetney. Did I say it anywhere close? No, right, but I apologize. I'll work on it some more. First, I also have some positive comments. I want to thank the council for aligning all of the ordinances that are under review tonight with the for the code for McCandless, so that the effective date for all the ordinances is aligned with the code. So thank you for that. I'm concerned, though, that the Sunshine Act, this will be my first of 3 comments about the Sunshine Act this evening. And we're still not aligning with the Sunshine Act. The executive committee meeting that was held after last meeting was not on the agenda, and it's not specific enough. The Open Records Office has a very thorough website explaining what the requirements are for the Sunshine Act. And council is responsible individually, or I don't know. It's not a town issue. It's the council representatives' issue about the Sunshine Act. So once again, I'm willing to share what I've seen with the open records and the Sunshine Act with you, but individually, council members are responsible for following the Sunshine Act. I'm a little confused. My next comment is, I thought we had a superintendent of public works and not a director of public works. So I'm not sure why we're advertising for a Director of Public Works when the code refers to a Superintendent of Public Works. So thank you very much.
Thank you for comments.
Hi, good evening, Marcia Caliendo, 10529 Abbey. I have some comments relative to the e-bike ordinance that you're going to be discussing, voting, rejecting, tabling tonight. I have some questions that I hope that are going to be discussed before you decide to vote. Within the ordinance itself, I do have a question or a comment. When you define e-bike, you do say that the term does not include a device specifically designed for use by persons with disabilities, which I'm glad to see. But when you go on to define an electrically motorized device, you don't include that same terminology. And I would think e-scooters, e-wheelchairs would probably more fall under that category. So I don't know if your term definition under e-bike was meant for both or not. But I don't think it's clear enough in the regulation, and obviously I know it's not the intent of council to want to exclude persons with disabilities requiring a motorized device. Also, under section 73303B, under the age restriction, you stated that the use of e-bikes or other electronically motorized devices by operators under the age of 16 years old is prohibited. My question is, are we allowed to state in the ordinance that you have to be a licensed driver? This is a motorized device. Anybody 16 years old is eligible to get a driver's license. If we are required they be at least 16 years old, can we also require that they have a driver's license? I think that's really important. These things can go up to 20 miles an hour, which doesn't sound fast, but I wouldn't want to fall off at 20 miles an hour. Overall, I just have some another question. We don't talk about hovercraft. I don't know how big an issue is, how little an issue, but I'm also trying to think forward on this. Are hovercraft included in this? Do we allow them in the parks? And do we need to include them within this ordinance? And finally, have we taken this ordinance as far as we are legally able to take it? We see the e-bikes on the streets, which I know are otherwise legislated by the state ordinances, but we see them on the sidewalks. We see them everywhere. I don't know where we can and cannot legislate where they can be. I just want to make sure before council votes on this that we are ensured that we've taken this ordinance as far as we can go with it. I know we always say it's a start, and yes, a start is always a great place, but sometimes we end at starts so we don't continue on. So before we vote on this, I would just hope that we make sure that this is as much as we can do at this point in time with the other with the way other ordinances and state regulations are. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mike Conroy, 375 Bellcrest Place. I wanted to talk about the Harmony Manor development. Our property sits directly downhill from this development.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. Can you bring the mic to you just a little bit so we? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I was saying this too, so excuse
Thank you.
me. Our property sits directly downhill from this development. And we're on a well. We have no access to public water. We're very concerned how this could affect our water quality. Our well is literally 100 yards from a detention pond they planned on building. It's directly downhill from it. Detention ponds collect groundwater from roads and runoff from roads and lawns that contain fertilizer, pesticides, and even E. coli from animal waste. This creates a real risk that contaminants could eventually reach our groundwater and our well. The developer has proposed that they would test our drinking water once before construction and then one time after construction, and that's not enough. Groundwater contamination could take months or even years. A single test after construction does not protect us long term. We're also concerned about increased flooding. Our property has already experienced flooding from the wetland that's above our property. This new development is going to strip that land of all the trees and vegetation, and they're going to build slopes to put the houses higher. That adds more runoff and increases water flow downhill. And the slope modification that they're asking for tonight makes that risk even greater. If our water becomes contaminated, our homes would really be uninhabitable and worth nothing. So the question is, and no one's answered, is who's responsible for this? If this happens, is it the developer, the HOA, or the township that approved it? That's not been clearly explained to us at all, and it's a critical issue for us. I don't want that to be on the public record that we are asking about this. Okay, the request of this plan be tabled until the following are addressed: a long-term well water monitoring plan, clear explanation of contamination risks, a defined responsibility if contamination occurs, a thorough stormwater analysis proving no increased flooding, and direct and clear responses to our concerns. Residents have valid concerns. They deserve clear information, thoughtful review, and genuine engagement. And I feel up to this point, we have not gotten that for this development. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment, sir.
Hi, Janelle Petrilli. I'm at 9760 McCutcheon Ave. So we're right across, and this is in follow on to the Harmony Drive development. So we are right across from Harmony Drive, and a clear view of our backyard is now going to be looking at 8 houses. I know I first of all want to applaud the process and the comments, and if Matt is here, he's done a very nice job getting us through and talking through things. But I think as a town council, and very similar to what we just heard, there have been a lot of concerns that have been brought up that I don't feel we adequately have answers to as well. I don't envy you. I know by code, if you look at it, maybe it's a checkbox. Yes, not enough traffic. We don't need to do the traffic study. There are so many kids in this neighborhood that are going to be impacted and their safety is at risk. I know sidewalks aren't proposed not being needed because it's a private drive. It doesn't take away the fact that we have a lot of families, a lot of bikers, a lot of folks going up and down these roads that just because and I don't want a sidewalk, either necessarily on that private drive, but we have to protect the safety of the folks. I think there's also a lot of feedback from the community and the neighbors about the impact of this. And again, checkbox may have met a lot of the codes and the regulations, but I believe you also owe it to us as the existing residents that have been devoted and committed to this neighborhood to figure out a solution that better fits us. We loved the neighborhood so much, we moved 4 houses up the street because we loved that neighborhood. It's not a development. Every house is different from a different era. It has different character. Putting in a development does not match that neighborhood, as well as a lot of the other concerns. What it's going to do to Inglemoor Elementary, the property value for a lot of us, and again, just the broader ecosystem from water retention, et cetera, I think really needs to still be considered. There's no question this is going to change the neighborhood. And there's a reason we came in here and we chose not to move and not to reinvest, to not live in a township that had a lot of development in a neighborhood. There are plenty of places north of here that are just clearing beautiful, mature areas to put in houses. And we chose not to do that and really don't think that fits. So I think at the end of it, just the decision you take on this is not just the 8.36 acres that's on the piece of paper. This is going to fundamentally change our neighborhood and needs to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Samuel Cannon, also 375 Bellcrest Place. I just want to start by just reiterating and stressing about the well water and storm runoff. Our house sits basically in a hole, and we already get a lot of stormwater damage to our driveway and to our yards from an already existing hill. Now they're building a proposed steeper than it should be hill that is also pointing directly down at our house. Also, our well water, in addition to just contaminants, if the well water, the basin that it is breached, it'll dry up and you can't fix that. You can't clean that or anything. So in literally just out of luck, then they get a fine. In general, I just wish the process was a little more careful, a little more considerate about the people who are already living there. So far, it's just felt like it's been bulldozed through, just trying to get it done as quick as possible with no regard to the people who live there. Also, I did want to say about the sidewalks. The sidewalk on Harmony is, I don't think, a good idea, but debatable. The sidewalk on Bellcrest Road, it does not connect to a public road. It stops before it reaches it, and it leads nowhere to our private driveway. There's no use for that sidewalk. It literally goes nowhere, and you can't even get to it. So I just want to say that, and I just wish it was more considerate. The developer was a little more considerate to the people who already live there and would actually take our cares into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Donahue. I live at 1025 Woodland Road, and I'm here to speak about the Harmony Manor Plan. As some of my neighbors have expressed concerns, I also have concerns, but I wanted to bring out one item that I think hasn't really been mentioned. On the June 2nd staff report, it talked about how the proposed development is consistent with lot sizes and shapes developed in the RL zoning district abutting the property. So I did a little research on my own, and I just wanted to say that, and I know you probably can't see this, but this is off the county website. This is all the homes in the area in the low density zone. There are approximately 50 single family homes in that area. And of those 50 homes, there's only one piece of property that is 13,000 square feet, which is approximately the size of the proposed, at least 6 of the proposed homes in this development. The rest of them are 19, 20, 25, 30,000 square feet. So my point is that all surrounding these areas are properties that are larger than what we're going to stick in the middle of this, which is at least 6 pieces of property or 6 parcels, 6 homes that are 12 or 13,000 square feet, which obviously doesn't fit in with the community here. There are 5 duplexes on Bellcrest Road, and then the rest of them are private homes, single family dwellings. And as I said, the only one is the one right across from the school, and that's 13,000 square feet. If you go on the website, you'll see there are 20,000, 24,000. Some people, the person right next to the school has 1.2 acres of property. So, and it's in a low density zone. So what I'm saying is the properties around, even though they are in a low density zone, have considerably more square feet to the property. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why the neighbors are so upset that we're going to have 13 homes there. Now, there are some that are indicated as having maybe an acre and a half. There's one, I think, that's 2 acres. But for the majority that are right on the top of the hill, which I think is right across from the Petrelli, I think the woman that spoke a few minutes ago, the homes that are going to be right across from her backyard are the ones that are on the 13,000 square foot lot. So she's going to be seeing houses that are like 20 feet apart, where the majority of our homes, even in the other districts, are quite spread apart. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because this isn't a cookie cutter community. We're very individualized. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Samuel Canarone, 375 Buckhurst Place. I didn't mean to come again. I just forgot to say one small thing was regarding the NPDES, which they do not have yet. We reached out to the Allegheny County Conservation District, and they have not even applied for it as of last Thursday. Thank you.
Back on 1015 Woodland Road, again, talking about the same neighborhood. And as Mrs. Donahue talked, she was talking about how this is zoned low density, where really it should have been zoned very low density, which is what our neighborhood is. So I think it was zoned wrong to begin with. And in our neighborhood with the very low density, it's not even close in property size. Most of us have over an acre. So allowing modifications is ridiculous. They shouldn't allow any modifications. And I knew the town said that they're going to recommend to allow these modifications because they didn't want the land torn up even more. If you didn't allow the modifications, there wouldn't be as many houses and the land wouldn't be torn up as much. So it works both ways. So less homes would equal less land torn up. I know who is responsible when the wells go bad, and you're going to say, oh, it's that community. Well, trust me, they aren't going to pay for it. You should have the developer put some kind of a trust in to handle that, because I'm sure that all of those homes on wells, it's not going to be good. We cited all 9 reasons where this development does not meet the objectives of your comprehensive plan. It doesn't meet it in any of the objectives of your comprehensive plan. Other municipalities have a 50-foot buffer area before they allow a development to be built. I'm wondering how in the world McCandless does not have that. Because if you had that, this would never have been allowed. You would have, in a 50-foot buffer, the adjacent properties do not match what's being put in, so it would have not been allowed. That's how other townships do it. This is something that our township needs to enact. It's shocking to me that we don't have the same thing other townships have. You wouldn't have a whole neighborhood of people upset because we have very low density, and that's what this is adjacent to, is very low density. This would never, ever be allowed. Most of our lots are 1 acre. This doesn't match our neighborhood in any way, shape, or form. You should allow no modifications. And if you do allow modifications, you better for sure plan on every single developer getting modifications. There's no sense in even having our codes if you're just going to allow everybody to have modifications. That makes no sense at all. But the next one's going to say, well, you allowed it for him, you have to allow it for me. You should not allow any modifications. When housing plans go in, if they have children, it typically costs your taxpayers more. While people think that housing plans bring in money, they actually cost the school district, which is your majority of your taxes, to lose huge amounts of money. The average per child is $23,039 in North Allegheny. That's per child. I doubt even 2 of these homes will be paying $23,000. So if there is more than 1 child in the house, we're losing huge amounts of money. That costs your taxpayers money. And part of your job is to think about the taxpayers in your community. Unless this is going to be senior citizens, this is going to be costing your taxpayers a huge amount of money. Has anyone looked at the property? Because we complained about this weeks ago at your meeting. We complained because the grass was over 1 foot high. And they said, oh, don't worry, we've already told them. Well, now the grass is over 2 feet high. So nobody's doing anything. And if you think they're going to do better as they're developing this property, I'm sure that the driveway and road and everything else is going to be in much worse shape. So nothing's been done according to plan so far. I have absolutely no confidence in the fact that it's going to lower all of our property values in our neighborhood is more than problematic to me. And costing taxpayers money is a huge problem. Every housing development that goes in that has children typically cost taxpayers money unless it's really inexpensive houses. If they have a child, it's going to cost us money because the tax amount, one child, it's $23,039 is the average in a small elementary school. Can't just absorb a bunch of people. It can't. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Julie Greenberg. I live at 1000 Woodland Road with my family. Our home is one of the original estate homes on the Woodland Road corridor. It was built in 1914 and is 112 years old and sits on almost 3 acres. I'd like to address 4 points this evening. First, I urge you to decline to approve any portion of the Harmony Manor plan until after the developer and the township develop and approve a plan to ensure the safety of drivers and pedestrians at the existing intersection of Harmony Drive, Woodland Road, and the private road down to Potter's Pond, as well as the new road that's proposed to come into that intersection. This should include a full investigation and traffic study of the existing intersection, as well as the adoption of an appropriate plan to modify the intersection to improve traffic and pedestrian safety. The intersection is exceedingly dangerous for pedestrians, bicycles, and vehicles alike, and it will only be more dangerous with increased vehicular and pedestrian traffic, not only from people living in the new development, but also from an increased number of delivery drivers, Grubhub, et cetera, coming through our neighborhood. The sightline triangles that the developer is relying on in their proposed plan do not adequately address the visibility issues from the project. The existing intersection is visually obscured for almost a full block in each direction as it stands now because of existing homes, fences, mature trees, and other landscaping. It's also a difficult and narrow intersection to navigate if there are multiple vehicles in the intersection at the same time, and that's all before there are pedestrians. The proposed 12-house development of Harmony Manor will significantly increase the number of vehicles, and it will inevitably, create a safety risk at the intersection. We should not risk another pedestrian death only, a block and a half away from the Harmony Highland intersection where one of our own neighbors was killed in a vehicular accident less than 18 months ago. Second, the Planning Commission voted not to approve the developer's requested modification to the sidewalk requirement, and I urge you to follow the Planning Commission's recommendation and not waive the sidewalk requirement. There's a tremendous amount of foot traffic along Woodland Road, Harmony Drive, and down the private road to access Potter's Pond. The private road is presently the only access point into the Potter's Park, which was recently expanded. You can't get there unless you're going through people's private yards, except down that road. In particular, during the summer months, we see in our neighborhood many, many groups of young people walking down Woodland Road and down Harmony Drive between the Ingomar Swim Club and the 7-Eleven or down to the park. And there is a very real safety issue here with an increase of traffic at the intersection with a new development if there is not a modification made to the intersection and not a sidewalk put in near the intersection. While I understand that there are not presently connecting sidewalks, a protected pedestrian walkway along the frontage of 9750 Harmony, that parcel could be designed into the Harmony Manor plan without, a great difficulty, and it would make the intersection safer for everyone. Third, I urge you to deny the request for modification of the lot width ratio. The ratio exists for good reasons, and there is no good reason not to uphold the existing township lot width requirements. The lot width requirement serves to provide consistent proportionality among lots to maintain the visual character of the neighborhood and to protect property values. As far as I'm aware, the township does not make a routine practice of waiving the lot width ratio, and to do so here would prevent a development that would be significantly out of character with all the rest of the lots in the neighborhood. And it can have a negative impact on the character of the neighborhood. The Harmony Manor property is more than 7 acres in size. I'm confident that there is a configuration of proposed lots that would meet the lot width ratio requirements. It may necessitate subdividing to one less lot than the developer's currently proposing, but there is more than enough acreage there and planning flexibility to develop a lot plan that conforms with the code. And fourth, I urge you not to approve the lot plan as it's proposed to the extent that it plans for a structure to be built on what they're referring to as Lot 1, which is between the existing house on the property and the road and Harmony Drive. Building on Lot 1 will result in further reduced visibility at the intersection. Of particular concern is the fact that there is no fence or landscaping restrictions proposed to be deeded with Lot 1.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Kennedy, 940 Woodland Road. Also addressing the Harmony Manor. I'll start with the traffic considerations. There seems to be no history of a traffic study of the intersection of Woodland and Harmony. But we've been asking for it for a few months now, with the likelihood of Harmony Manor development being constructed, adding approximately a dozen new homes. Now is the time to do that traffic study and make sure that the new plan is incorporated in it to keep our pedestrians safe. I request that a conditional approval for this project not be allowed. The site terrain seems to be complicated and the neighborhood impact is significant on the Woodland side and the Bellcrest side. Please dot all the i's and cross all the t's before granting a permit and do not allow conditional approval. Regarding zoning ordinances, the 4 variances that are mentioned, I ask that you not allow any variances. I expect that these ordinances were carefully considered and developed when enacted just 3 years ago. These are not outdated ordinances. These ordinances set a minimum standard, not an optimum or an ideal standard. I expect that the developer is trying to stretch every dollar and every square foot of the property, but that should not be our concern or your concern. Let's follow the rules. I'm not asking town council or the zoning board to change the ordinance or bend the rules to my desires or neighborhood consensus, but I'm asking the town council and zoning board to not change the ordinance or bend the rules in favor of the developer by allowing variances. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Yeah, are there any further public comments on agenda items this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you very much. Next item is the approval of minutes. Do we have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of town council from June 8th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Giorgetti. Any comments from council, corrections or anything that need to be made on those minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the approval of minutes, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain, so that motion carries 6-0. Okay, now we will move on to the administration and finance reports. Let's start with the finance report for the month of May, please.
Good evening, council. Enclosed in your packet are the general fund revenue and expenditure reports for May 2026. As of May, our year-to-date revenue totals were 5.4 million or 31.1% of the budget, compared to last year that was 6.6 million and 36.3% at the same time last year. Our year-to-date expenditures total 8.6 million, representing about 42% of the budget, compared to 6.6 million or 33.5% last year. Overall, our revenues and expenditures are tracking as expected for this point. The main difference in the expenditures is the timing of the interfund transfers. Last year, we processed them a lot later. This year, we processed some of them earlier. And then I'll move on to enclosed in your packet is the check listing for May 2026 in the amount of $2,860,150.40. I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
was the difference from last year to this year? Are we still gaining traction with our tax collection?
We're starting to see more of the taxes come through. So as of this month, we started seeing a lot more of the taxes start to come through.
And
So,
they're not reflected in those.
Correct.
totals.
yes.
Well, we're trending at 42% of the year. That is at the end of May.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I noticed there was a little lagging in the business privilege tax that came in as well. Is that getting caught up as well? this
They
time?
are starting to send more in. I'm not sure. We're gonna touch base with them and see if they're just getting caught up on the delinquents and then starting. So yes,
Okay.
everything seems to be starting to blow through but a lot better now.
And it might be a good time right now to remind everyone that we'll have a new property tax remission scheduled this or operation this year with Jordan Tax Service. Mr. Swanick, I think you said July 1st were.
Tax bills will still be mailed as they were in the past. There will be, the only difference is rather than mailing your payments to Town Hall, you'll mail them to Jordan Tax Service. There will be in-person collection days that will advertise on the website and social media where there will be a tax collector present as well. You can receive your stamp and pay right there too if you don't want to mail.
And in the past, you wrote one check to the town of McCandless and your school taxes were paid from that fund. But this year you will write a check to the town of McCandless and a separate check to North Allegheny School District. So there will be a little difference in that as well. So do we have any further questions from finance from council? Discussion?
At the risk of asking the same question again, the delay in taxes, you would say that largely explains the 5% gap between this year and last year?
It does. We used to collect everything in-house, so we process things a lot faster.
Yeah. So we're not anticipating any lagging in our payment schedule or anything. It's just a matter of just processing and getting the checks cashed.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion for to approve the check listing, please?
I'll make a motion to approve check listing number 5 dated May 1st, 2026 to May 31st, 2026, totaling $2,860,150.40 as submitted to each member of council and posted on the bulletin board and town website.
Second. Thank you, Ms. Alt. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from council? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please respond by saying aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0 with 1 abstain. Okay, moving on, we would like to hear our communications report for the month of June.
Good evening, council. Some updates for Social First is I've been working on content programming. So you may have seen on Thursdays, posts that are next week in McCandless that feature upcoming events in the town. So that is continuing on Thursdays to highlight upcoming events. But one new program we're adding into content is Sustainable Saturday to feature information from our EAC. So you can anticipate to see that on Saturdays. Make sure to follow along on Facebook and Instagram, but also the stories. So we post on the feed major information, mostly the events and other important information, but on stories is where some behind the scenes and other content lives, especially when it comes to Birdtown, migration patterns, and others along those lines. So make sure to follow along on stories. We're still submitting for the Remarkable Tree Challenge. We'd love for more entries there. That is on the website, and one of the requests is the circumference of the tree that you are submitting. So you can sign out a tape measure at Town Hall if interested. July is National Parks and Recreation Month, so follow along as we highlight the amenities of our town's parks. And lastly, on the social side, I always put metrics, a highlight at the bottom there, so you can see that we just hit 7,100 followers on Facebook, so we're growing and reaching new members of our community. And there were over 7,000 engagements on our social content in the last 28 days. So just wanted to thank everyone in the community for engaging and following along. And lastly, I am getting more video content out there and we are seeing traction there. The community loves to see that type of media. So far, since I started, we've posted 21 videos and received around 275,000 views. So I'll continue that tracker there. And that is my update for social. For the website, I'm working with each of the departments to clean up their content, make sure everything is accurate, and then also to add other valuable information and hopefully answer questions that the community has on our website and to get there quicker. So I will keep you all updated on those changes. Residents are encouraged to reference the newsflash section of the website and the community calendar for updates, announcements, and upcoming events. And one thing you can anticipate to see town hall meeting agendas once published, there will also be a newsflash so that you can just go to the homepage, click it, and it takes you straight to those agenda items. So thank you for bringing that up to me, and I will make sure that's on there. For email, the June and the July McMail is in progress, and you can anticipate to see that sometime next week. And for any members of the community who signed up, I highly recommend that. It has all the info for the upcoming month, and that info is then disseminated through the website and social. The Town Crier for the summer is going to print this week. It's very exciting. Town Crier. It's a special 175th anniversary edition. So I hope everyone's excited when they open their mailbox and see this Town Crier coming through. So one thing you can anticipate to see in there are 3 big Community Day announcements that we have yet to announce on any of our socials or any of our meetings. So that's something exciting. We won't be announcing those outside of the Town Crier until those hit. So keep an eye open for that publication. And lastly, we are collecting 175 reasons to love McCandless for the final Town Crier of 2026. You can email me your submissions, and we will also have a National Night Out the first Tuesday in August, as well as on Community Day. So come see me and tell me why you love McCandless. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Thank you very much. I think you've been very busy. Moving on, just to note, there will be no junior council reports until the fall of 2026. So now we will move to the resident reports. MIDO, Mr. Hickinson.
Thank you, Madam President. We will be meeting this Wednesday at 4:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hickerson? No? Okay, North Wales Council of Governments, Mr. Giorgetti.
Meeting minutes for last month will be in next month's meeting, and we'll always lag a month behind to wait till we can approve the meetings from the last meeting, the minutes from the last meeting. But I will say that we touched on salt, which is always a common topic. We talked about the compost because that is a nice function of COG, and I think it's a wonderful thing that the residents of the town love and get to use. They do have some aging equipment there that they use to, I don't know, churn all of the leaves. So we will be looking at doing something about that in coming years. It's run down. And then we also talked about deer.
Just gonna ask.
Always. No one wants to get into a car wreck caused by a deer. And I do think that there is some hunger in the COG to take a more collective approach trying to control deer. So
I think everyone on this council agrees that we need to work with our neighbors on that issue as well.
we do. It's not just a McCandless issue.
Actually, we're the only ones that've taken action. I mean, everybody else, whether it be the county, whether it be Pine, whether it be Marshall, whether it be Hampton, whether it be Franklin Park, nobody's touched this issue.
Hampton, I believe, just allowed bow hunting, and their council president came to me after the COG meeting and said that they would really like to ramp it up. So we could definitely use the support of our surrounding towns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Giorgetti? No? Okay, Northern Regional Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Will.
Well, I attended the gala for the Northern, the Pittsburgh, Northern Pittsburgh Regional Chamber of Commerce. We have our own group in McCandless that we've developed called the McCandless Business Alliance. The businesses in the town of McCandless have been invited to start to collaborate and work more closely with the town. We have not shown our businesses a lot of love, but we're trying to. And it's a slow process getting started, but we're on the way. I submitted the minutes this afternoon from this morning's meeting, and I don't think that they're available yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Will. Any questions for Mr. Will? Okay, and then we'll move to public comment on administration and finance, if anybody would like to make a comment.
Ellen Wright, 9635 Old Coomer Road, Allison Park, PA 15101. I want to start off by saying how nice the lights out alert was that was posted for the bird migration in Birdtown. It's quite lovely. The second thing I want to say is, I also want to thank you for posting the audit. I'm curious why the audit was late. It's, I believe, due April 1st. Has a public notice been published about the audit? And I'm curious what the action is that's related to the audit tonight. It says there'll be an action item about it. And I'm also curious, and I've been practicing, Nick Giorgetti. Did I get it right? Yes. I'm curious why Nick Giorgetti abstains from the checks approvals. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any further comment, public comment for administration and finance? Hearing none, we'll move on to planning and zoning reports. Mr. Ennis, if you'd like to share.
Thank you. Just to go over a couple of the planning commission updates. At the June, the planning commission heard PLC 26-2 800 ship combined preliminary and final development was the applicant requested the table, and that would be heard at the July meeting. Additionally, the following items will be heard at the as well. These items are various number of items that the school district has submitted regarding a number of different projects and some map requests, allotments for some of the North Allegheny projects that they're planning to do within the next few years. So that will be the beginning of those processes. And for the planning commission, excuse me, for the zoning, is this Wednesday. Here is 2057, which was tailored from the previous meeting. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does council have any questions for our planning director? Okay, moving on then, thank you. We'll move on to liaison reports. Planning commission result.
As Matt indicated, we were very busy in June with a number of things that are reflected under new business at today's meeting and already have a full calendar for July. It's imperative then that we get some interest in someone joining the planning commission, that we now have a vacancy due to one of the members leaving the town of McCandless. So if you know somebody who has a certain skill set that would be helpful to the group, please make sure that they're aware of that vacancy, visit the website so that they can apply.
Thank you. Any questions from us out from council? Okay, zoning hearing board, Mr. Will.
The meeting minutes are in your packet. And if you have any questions, please to me.
I think it's just a one item meeting coming this Wednesday, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, at this time, if there's no further questions or comments from council, we'd like to welcome public comment on planning and zoning.
Ellen Wright, 9635 Old Coomer Road, Allison Park, PA 15101. I have some concerns about the process for the Harmony Road plan. And first I'll start with, that there is probably a chapter 105 permit at the planning commission. I didn't think there was one. But there is no NPDES permit, which concerns stormwater, which is especially concerning since of the steep slopes. There are no approved minutes from Planning Commission. Planning Commission was June 2nd, today's June 22nd. Planning Commission won't meet again until July. There's a report from the planning director, but a report from the planning director is not the same as minutes from the Planning Commission. When the Planning Commission makes a recommendation to council, I would think it would be based on the approved minutes, and not the report from the planning director. Even though it's a very thorough report, it's not the officially approved minutes from Planning Commission. The Planning Commission voted on 3 modifications that were not on the agenda. So this is my second comment about the Sunshine Act. These votes, again, are a violation of the Sunshine Law. Despite there were 2 attorneys for the town being present, neither of those attorneys alerted the Planning Commission that voting for the modifications not on the agenda was a violation of the Sunshine Act. And then I did some more looking around because according to our code, the Harmony Manor Development Plan is supposed to say it's a preliminary plan. When I look at the first page, I do not see that it's marked a preliminary plan. And what our code specifically says, it not only says that it should be marked that, it says not to be recorded. And I'm not seeing that on the Harmony Manor plan, that it's a preliminary plan. Now, maybe it's on another page. I just look for it on the first page. So if it's there, you know, I'm not seeing it. But when I did that, I thought maybe that this writing right here was the preliminary plan. So I enlarged it, and guess what? It uses the word variances, not modifications. Now, I believe that variances have to go to zoning where modifications go to planning. And that might be something we might want to look into, that the requested things needed to go to zoning and not to planning. But even so, the vote wasn't on the agenda. So let's see, because of this, and I'm looking, I was section 1103.60, letter D, number 20, where I see that is to be marked as a preliminary plan. 1103.60, letter D, number 20. So with no NPDES report submitted, with no approved minutes, with a planning commission vote on 3 modifications that were not on the agenda, that the vote was on modifications and not on variances, which should happen at zoning. And because it's not labeled as a preliminary plan, I request that tonight's vote on the Harmony plan, preliminary plan, be tabled. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any further public comment on planning and zoning at this time? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to recreation reports. We have the Parks and Recreation Director's report, please, Abby.
Good evening, everyone. As was mentioned in the announcements earlier this evening, we'll be having our McCandless 175 B-Day 5K on Saturday, July 4th. It will be held at the Boathouse at North Park. We have a 5K, we have a 1 mile fun run and a kids dash. So there's fun for all to be had on July 4th. Still in time for you to get home for the afternoon to have your barbecues, and certainly enough time to get home for the fireworks later that evening. So we hope that you join us on July 4th. I have been working with our LGA intern, Caroline Ridge. She introduced herself at our last meeting 2 weeks ago. She's been wonderful in helping us to digitize and scan and record some documents that we had related to celebrating our 175. We found some wonderful old photos of the very first community day in 2001. And we've been using some of that content for our Facebook page, as well as for the upcoming town crier to help celebrate. So thank you to Caroline. At the Heritage Center, we've had some busy lectures, the last few. Last Thursday, we hosted 2 speakers from the PA Trolley Museum related to the Harmony Short Line that ran through McCandless. We had a full house for that one. And then We had a wonderful group visit to the PA Trolley Museum in Washington, PA, where we got to see the Wexford station that was transported from Wexford to their museum in Washington, as well as a behind-the-scenes tour where we got to see an original Harmony car that is waiting to be restored. So it was a wonderful experience. Next month in July, on July 16th, we'll be hosting a speaker about the Biddle Boys and Mrs. Sofel, another one of those notorious stories that have happened in the North Hills and up through Butler. So please be sure to visit for that presentation as well. This Thursday, we are hosting the Minutes Matter Emergency Preparedness program with the Passevant Foundation. It will be here in the Powers Room this Thursday at 7 p.m. and registration is available through the Passevant Foundation. A lot going on, as always, and a lot more to come.
Thank you. Does council have any questions for what's happening here? Great. With that, we will move to liaison reports. Ms. Alt, the FPPC.
Shout out to all involved. I was very impressed to learn that the Heritage Center's Facebook page has increased traffic 31%, correct? With over 130 new followers, tons of likes and comments, almost 30% increase in that as well. I was fortunate enough to attend Thursday's lecture. It was amazing. The time that the speakers took to interact with the people in the audience when they had questions, the vintage photographs were just amazing to see. The whole process of moving people by trolley from up north into Pittsburgh. It was incredible. So hats off to all of you for that. On a financial aspect, we are looking to explore ways to fund some needed equipment for the center to be able to digitize the collection and be able to track items so that if someone wanted to, say, borrow a few things, we would be able to better identify what the items were, where they could be found at the center, and when they're loaned out, that we would make sure to get them back. And finally, if you haven't stopped there, there's so many things there to see. But there's a display that was done by the Sisters of Divine Providence that is very impressive. The history of the sisters and their service to the community is amazing to see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I actually add on to that? I was at the last board meeting. It was only, I'll admit, it was only my second time there. And I urge anyone who lives in the town, or even who doesn't live in the town, to come and visit. It really is an incredible space. There's so much cool artifacts and documents, letters, photos that really give you a really unique look at what life was like for those who were here.
You know, showing up is a big deal, and I'm going to throw a plug. I'm sorry. The gala, the Shining Star Gala that benefits the Heritage and Cultural Center, will be held November 6th at the Camelot in Wexford. For those of you that don't know what the Shining Star Gala is, we honor anywhere from 8 to 10 people for their contributions to the town and to the people of the town. It's a great evening. We ask you to join us. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have at this time any public comment on recreation? Okay, seeing none, we will move to next agenda item number 9, our town manager's report.
Thank you. Highlighting a few things from the report from this past month. Continuing to meet with the leadership from our McCandless Police Officers Association, working on our contract that expires at the end of this year. We have positive progress, I feel, and in a position where we could potentially move forward very soon. We're in our hiring process for 2 police officers right now also. There were interviews that have been conducted, and I feel like we should also be very close at our July 13th meeting to having 2 offers of employment extended and possibly swearing in 2 new police. It was noted in the finance report that we are working with our business privilege tax collector to correct the slow receipts that we've seen so far. One thing that we do need to start to consider, it's been addressed in the past three budget presentations that you've seen each year are the revenue sources. They're very steady, but they're not increasing. As costs continue to increase, we need to find ways to manage those costs. And we also need to have a candid conversation about how we want to continue to fund some of our priorities in the future, including stormwater projects and infrastructure, and commitments that we need to make to our volunteer fire departments also. In conjunction with that, know that your staff is working hard on any grants that come up that are possible. Katie spearheads that initiative. We've been continuing to work through our Green Light Go Cycle 10, including the awarding engineer design tonight, hopefully. Applications complete and submitted for Green Light Go Cycle 11. Also keeping up on our early with the school zone flasher project and other applications also. Traffic signals and components are very expensive. These grants are an excellent way to supplement the funding that our town spends on that infrastructure. We were awarded a small water and sewer grant. We're working with the engineer right now to develop those bid documents. That was for lining deteriorating stormwater pipes prior to needing them to be replaced. So you get a lot more value for your dollar when you can still line the pipes. We should be able to extend the life of that infrastructure for 25 to 50 years to come, depending on the location of the pipes. Public Works, we have added, you'll see the paving has already begun. Milling will take place for the next 11 days, and there'll be 11 days of paving to follow. They're overlapping as they can, weather permitting. We are going to include crack sealing as part of the program this year to extend the life of the roads. And we also are going to bid out some thermoplast line striping on a few roads in McCandless who we feel the lines have been deteriorating. I'll skip down to the end of the miscellaneous notes. First, I want to compliment and thank the members from Highland, Ingomar, and Peebles, as well as our fire marshal and everybody on the bylaws steering committee. We are at a position as of last Tuesday where all three fire departments voted to adopt the same standard set of bylaws. That's very important to work towards standardization among the departments. It's also important as our initiative to have a paid fire chief take over managing these groups and also potentially have a few paid part-timers in the future. Getting everybody on the same page is really important. They moved through it thoughtfully but quickly, and I'm very impressed with the work that they did. I'm sure there'll be more to report on that at our next meeting also. Last thing to keep in mind, it's been, talked about in the news lately and a few other municipalities. Everybody has concerns about data centers, where they can go, if they would ever come to McCandless. Is it feasible or not? People have a lot of different feelings on that. We do think that it's a priority of town council to make sure that the residents are protected from any data center that would want to move into town. We're going to work on a standalone ordinance with our solicitor to make sure that we can address that in every way that the law allows us.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions anybody has on the report.
Mr. Schwen, how are we doing with DPW in the absence of a superintendent or a director?
Well, since I'm working with the foreman every day, I think we're doing very well. But in reality, Brad's only been gone a week or two so far. You do have folks in those foreman positions who are very knowledgeable. They've been in the town a long time. The least experienced out of that group's been here 15 years, so they know how it operates. The folks in the DPW union have been working hard also and making sure that, they keep up on their end too.
So yeah, you got a good group there because they can do pretty much anything.
Very good crew.
Any further questions for Mr. Schwen from council?
We are still accepting applications for that Public Works Director position also.
Thank you. I'm very excited about the bylaws being adopted. We have such wonderful community volunteers in our fire departments, and it's great to see them working together because we are one community, and it's wonderful to see that. Okay, we'll move on now to our town attorney's report. Mr. Corbel.
Thank you, Madam President. My report, as always, was in the packet, and if there are any questions, we can discuss it in executive session following the meeting. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Moving on now to old business, item 11. Item A is action concerning proposed ordinance 1568. At this time, I'll ask for a motion in a second, and then council can discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 1568, an ordinance of the town council of the town of McCandless, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending part 13 of the Town Code of Ordinances zoning in order to revise the town zoning map to change the zoning district designation of property known as block and lot number 716-F-34 from the RM zoning district to the SD zoning district in accordance with the rezoning application filed by the North Allegheny School District.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, second, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dickerson. Okay, at this time, is there a brief summary, Mr. Friend, of this, or Mr. Ennis, of what this?
I do summary, sure. As discussed in the previous public hearing, this application was a request for rezoning of the parcel adjacent to Peter's School District. The purpose of this rezoning is to consolidate, rezone and then consolidate the lots to allow for an expansion of the Peter's School entrance, to offer the school expand and create a safer entrance.
Thank you. Any questions from council or comments? I know most parents I know and all the bus drivers will really appreciate.
Yeah, that's
having
had a lot of constituents because it doesn't feel safe there. And so whatever the school district does, it's great that they're cognizant of the issue.
Very good. Okay, we have a motion, a second, all in favor of approving ordinance 1568, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Okay, next, do we have a motion concerning proposed ordinance 1569?
I can make this one. Motion to approve ordinance 1569, an ordinance of the town council of the town of McCandless, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, regarding the councilmanic district commission report and recommendations.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Higginson. Okay, Matt, I'm gonna go back to you again here. We had the hearing at the last meeting.
So this is just the approval of the report that myself and the commission put together. This allows us to take the next steps to start to initiate this process and get it to the county and get this thing approved.
Any questions from council before we
I have a comment.
Mhm.
I want to thank Officer Heckman and Jason Singer for their hard work of working together to get this done. This was yeoman's duty. Thank you.
And when they agreed to do it, they thought it would be done by now. Right?
When did they start this figure? 4 years ago?
Yes, so we have a motion and a second to approving ordinance 1569. Please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, and now do we have a motion concerning ordinance 1570?
I make a motion to approve an ordinance of the town council of McCandless, amending article 1507, quote, stores fittings, unquote, of part 15 of the town code of ordinances to require fire hydrants in the town to be outfitted with stores fittings to provide 1 year for existing hydrants to be brought into compliance and to provide fines and penalties for violations thereof.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Do we have a second?
Second.
What's that? Okay, this Marshall Wisner's not here. John, any notes to share with us?
Yeah, as discussed before, the purpose for the change in this ordinance is to make sure that all hydrants, public and private, will be outfitted with the new connections. This goes hand in hand with the grant application we received and the progress we've made to put the adapters on all those hydrants. This ensures that if they're damaged, if they get replaced, they will have the new connections also.
And this includes privately owned.
Private and public.
Thank you. Does council have any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, but all those in favor of approving ordinance 1570, please respond by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, do we have a motion for ordinance 1571?
I'll do it. Motion to approve ordinance 1571, an ordinance of the town council of the town of McCandless, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending the town code of ordinances to establish regulations relating to the use of electronic bicycles and electronically motorized devices within town parks and property.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Giorgetti. Okay, we did have some public comment on this and any comments from council or questions before we move on?
Yes. First of all, the way that this reads, it doesn't say what the regulations are relating to it. And it's prohibition of an e-bike in town parks, correct? I call on our state legislators to define what a motor scooter is versus an e-bike and have regulations. Some of our people brought up tonight. You know, you have to be 16 to drive a motorcycle. You have to be 16 to drive a motor vehicle at all. In my mind, the e-bikes are a nuisance and they are a motor vehicle. So I ask, and I know that that's not the purview of this council, but I ask our state legislators to get with it and define what these things are. Because every time you have a kid that's out there riding an e-bike and he's not wearing a helmet, well, it's a motor scooter. And then when he's flying through Ingomar in traffic, oh, it's a bicycle. Can't be everything to all peoples. And this is a great step. And we can't go any further to your point because our purview is only with parts. I mean, the roadways, that's the state. And the eligibility to drive these things lies with the state. So while I am all for this, I just wanted to make that statement because we need to tell our legislators that they need to define what a motor scooter is, what an e-bike is. All these things have to be defined. Because otherwise we're shooting at air. We can't pin anything on anybody. We can't legislate them. Thanks.
Mr. Raw. I just want to clarify, this ordinance does not, it's prohibitive, it is prohibitive, but it does not prohibit the use of this.
Right, it prohibits it in the parks.
It does not, it's prohibits, you're allowed in the parks under these conditions, with it being
listed here. Okay, I didn't read it, I'm sorry.
Okay, which includes things such as how many miles per hour, the age of riders, using a helmet, etc.
The other problem is with that, we have a police force that's taxed. It's pretty heavily taxed, and how are we going to enforce this? Especially in our parks. I mean, if you're out here in Dublin, that's one thing. But if you're over at Vincentian or you're over at Vestal or you're at Walt Park, you know, you have an e-bike, somebody calls the cops, you know, they're gone. So just my point, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Any other comments from council?
I do also just want to urge anyone who is concerned about this to please contact your state rep and your state senator. It makes me sad that we are limited in what we can do here, but I think we all have very valid safety concerns and we need our state reps and our state senators.
You know what, it's not just for the kids. It's for every motorist that's out there trying to dodge e-bikes on Ingomar Road.
Should be able to have fun, but they need to have fun safely.
My one question on this was under the definitions. We have motor driven cycle, which is understood in a one wheel. Does a regular, like a scooter with two wheels, is that included in here, the electronic scooters? I don't know if that's needs to be
I mean, I think that's
specific.
motor driven cycle, right?
But like the stand-on scooters is what I'm thinking about.
Electrically motorized device.
Okay.
A motorcycle including a motor scooter.
Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, the hoverboards don't move as quickly, I don't think, from what I've seen, but
So is e-bike being used as like a catch-all term?
for electronic
Right.
vehicle, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like we may set up definitions, but the technology on this equipment is changing very rapidly. And I think it's being unfortunately marketed to younger and younger people, which is, this is gonna be a hard one for us to keep with. That's why I'm happy to see, with violation and penalties, that the parent or guardian of any child shall be held responsible. Just curious legally, how much teeth we have with that statement? Should, some, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds be on town property with this? Are the parents then going to have the same sort of fines as if it were an adult trespassing?
We'll see what our friendly magistrate has to say when those cases go before him.
I think until it becomes a thing, parents are gonna say, well, then, I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, but I mean, there are other instances where parents are held responsible for the conduct of their children. That should be applied here.
And that is in here. I just want to make sure that there's teeth to it.
I mean, no matter who the magistrate is, it should be applied and it should be.
It is applied in the ordinance.
Okay.
But the magistrate does have discretion, so. It'll be up to him.
Oh, yeah.
All we can do is this.
About traffic around here. And I've heard several people talk about different instances of pedestrians getting killed. Well, the first thing that's gonna happen is somebody's gonna get killed on an e-bike. Okay, and not because they violated the law, but they were just driving in the normal course of business. And I mean, I've seen these e-bikes go in and out of traffic. I wish that we could. I'm going to digress because I mean, it doesn't make any sense for me to go any further. But you want to talk about a safety hazard in a town? This is it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know I'm pretty.
I don't know. I agree with you, and unfortunately, we can't impact that, but I couldn't agree with you more.
I think the statement was made earlier, we often do say this is just a start, but yeah, I feel like we need to, as a council, let our community know that we are aware of this issue and if we're always looking and sharing information with other municipalities, if there's a way we could make our ordinance stronger to impact, keep our residents, our children, people, pedestrians and so forth safer, we're hopefully going to respond to that and hear about it and learn about it and add to this.
And it's not just that we're aware, it's also like I nearly accidentally hit someone who ran a stop sign. I had to slam on my brakes when I thought it was all clear. I didn't see him until the last second. He just blew through. So I do think this is a step forward, but you got to reach out to Harrisburg and tell them, they need to define it, give it so we can get more tools.
Thank you. Any further comments from council?
I have one. The carve out for devices that function as disability aids, it does apply to the whole document, even if it's only a preference.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions, we have all in favor of, lost the number here. We have 15, all in favor of approving ordinance 1571. Please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Moving on now to new business. We will start with possible action concerning the 2025 town audit. And Mr. Schwen, you touched briefly on this, if you have anything else to add. And I think we have someone here who might be able to present some things too.
They were not able to attend.
Okay.
So I'll present. If there are any questions that I can't answer from council, we can have the auditors appear at the July 13th meeting. Audit was included in your packet. It was also published. Do want to clarify that there is an April 1st advertising requirement and an April 1st audit completion for the DCED audit. That was submitted by Meyer Dussel. and it was properly advertised in the Post Gazette. So any questions about the advertisement are addressed, and that portion was concluded by April 1st as required by law. In your packet, you'll see the full details of not only the financial audit, but there's a brief management letter, and they're also addressed 2 concerns that the auditor found during the course of their review. One is based on some ways that we did things in the past at the beginning of 2025. We did rely heavily on the auditor to ensure comprehensive financial reporting, including material adjustments to the fund balance, should be identified by our financial reporting system and our staff and not by the auditor. That was a beginning of 25 issue that Brittany has addressed and will not be a problem moving forward. The second was a note about one checklisting from 2025 that the total amount approved by council was correct. However, there were 7 items that were not listed on that checklisting. So they have said, make sure you double check that any voided checks, there were voided checks that were missing from the listing, but the total that was included was proper. Those are the only 2 comments in the management letter. Other than that, happy to answer any questions that you have about the financials.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
I have one. About the credit risk section in the audit, custodial and otherwise, it talks about we don't have a limit on to how much can go in any one bucket, I guess. And is that something that we should have? Is that the reason they bring it up, or?
Where did you see that? If you could point it out exactly.
I recall that as well.
It was under custodial credit risk.
Okay, I can look into that and get you an answer. I don't believe that they're talking about credit in the sense that you are traditionally thinking of it. We don't issue any bonds at this time. Anything that we do have a purchasing policy in place, we pass the ordinance annually about what our thresholds are for bidding requirements. As far as use of any town credit cards, et cetera, there are limits placed on those. And any purchasing accounts, we have those set up also.
Well, my thing is my understanding of the credit risk is that council has the power through house cleaning to move monies from any account that they wish to. And there's not a limit on where we can put that money, should town council agree to do that. Is that correct?
I don't want to speak the answer to that without knowing the facts 100%. So let me research that and get back to you.
After reading it, Mr. Schwein, I think that this should work. You did a great job.
Oh, the town's investment risks. This is about our investments that we have, either money market or otherwise in the pension fund. We could adopt a formal policy that talks about our investments. You do it essentially when we enter into a CD or into a money purchase. There are only certain investment tools that the town's allowed to use by law, whether that's for the pension fund is one thing. In order for us to invest the money, specifically talked about this with the Pliget, that's the Pennsylvania Local Government Trust, Insurance Trust. We follow the policies that are required by state law. We could have our own policy too, but right now we just follow the state law for that.
Thank you.
The question was asked about the possible action. It's just an action to approve the 2025 audit.
Council, do you feel comfortable in approving, or do you still have some questions that you feel you might need to table this until next time?
Okay.
I'm thinking of a motion then.
I move that we approve the 2025 or accept is correct, the 2025 town audit.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hickerson. We have a motion and a second to accept the 2025 town audit. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Moving on to action concerning the Green Light Go Services Consultant Award. May I have a motion, please? And I believe we'll
So if you could, before let's have Ms. Stringent make a brief comment on the design services consultant recommendation.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Schwen.
Thank you,
Good evening, council. Yes. As Mr. Schwen alluded to earlier this evening, the town recently received a Green Light Go Award for adaptive signal upgrades in the Perry Highway corridor. These signals are Perry at Nash, Perry at Reichold, and Perry at North Meadows. The Green Light Go program requires that you bid the preliminary and final design services out. The town did so in May with a deadline at the end of May for those solicitations. The town management reviewed the solicitations and is recommending that the town go with Trans Associates to complete the preliminary and final design for this Green Light Go year 10 cycle.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
I make a motion to award Trans Associates the for the professional traffic and signal design services contract for Green Light Go Cycle 10 funded project along Perry Highway.
Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Any further questions? For Katie or for John? Hearing none, all in favor of awarding Trans Associates the professional traffic signal design services contract, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Next is action concerning the SALT agreement. I don't know if there's much to say about this. We need salt, we have to pay for it.
Thank God Nick's been one of them.
Yeah.
Good deal.
We did. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if you need further information on this too, the town participates in a few joint salt purchasing agreements, one through CoStars with the state. We've traditionally participated in this North Hills COG contract, and also as a member of the South Hills COG, we participate in that contract. It allows us to use the numbers to meet the maximum and minimum while making sure that we don't run out of salt here in McCandless. The North Hills COG decided to bid the salt out this year. They had a 1 year that they could have extended the agreement. They decided as a group to bid it. The low bidder again is Morton Rock Salt. And you can see the price included in your packet. This year, we do have more flexibility with the mins and maxes. This bid allows for 60% minimum and 140% maximum. That used to be 80 and 120. So it allows us to have some more flexibility while we buy if it's a good or a bad winner. So professional staff recommends approving the salt agreement with Morton Inc.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make it. Motion to enter into a salt purchase agreement with Morton Inc. for the dates September 1st, 2026 through August 31st, 2027.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Salt. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of entering into a salt purchase agreement with Morton Incorporated, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. Okay, motion carries. Next will be action concerning the Roche subdivision. I don't know if we need a brief review of this, that we've got.
I believe we have somebody here who's going to present for this tonight.
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon, council. My name is Jim Wilkinson. Address is 8 Allegheny Center, Pittsburgh 15212. I work for Tate Engineering. I'm the plan preparer for this project, and we're here representing LaRoche University and the Sisters of Divine Providence. So to quickly summarize, the sisters are carving out 14.5 acres to donate to LaRoche University. That includes the mother house, another building that functions as a gym right now, and a garage. These buildings will help LaRoche further a lot of their programs. Long term, this could potentially bring in more students, more jobs, more business. And as these buildings are underutilized right now, this is really a big win for everyone involved. And if you have any questions or concerns, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah. Any questions from council?
Matt, if you could just review the process to make sure we followed this all properly.
Yeah, sure. So specifically speaking about the process for this item. Sure. So approval for this would just be a vote. This is just an application for a subdivision. The the applicant, through the process did, require a variance approval. That was granted by the zoning board. And the planning commission recommends that this, is approved by town council.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I read it on the most recent report or if it was previously addressed about access issues. Was that clarified?
I think the plan actually was the system requirements for access. And essentially what was devised was a declaration of easement that permits indefinite access for those properties to facilitate access through every state.
Thank you. Any further questions for our representative here? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion, please?
I move to approve the LaRoche Plan Minor Subdivision Block Lot 827-N-338.
Thank you, and do we have a second, please? Second. Thank you, Mr. Wall. Okay, if there's no further questions, all in favor of approving the LaRoche Plan Minor Subdivision, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to continued use of that space. It's a great space. Thank you. Next, we have action concerning the SSB Bank subdivision.
I make a motion to approve.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Yeah, this one's a lot more simple. SSB, their neighboring property is just giving them their backyard. Basically, it resolves a parking encroachment, and being that the neighbor's lot, there's a big drop off in their yard. They just wanted to sell that to the bank so that it could be used more properly.
Yeah. Any questions? Council.
I make a motion to approve the SSB plan subdivision and land development lot line revision block and lot 714-L-79 and 714-L-80.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, all in favor of approving the SSB Bank Plan subdivision and land development, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you again.
Okay, next is action concerning the Burke consolidation. We have a representative here from, this is a residential. Yeah. Okay. Anything you need to share with us, Matt, on this one? Or?
Yeah, just to kind of go, I did reach out to the resident. I believe that she had error in their scheduling, so she was able to make it. Regarding this application, this is a standard consolidation. There's the property owner, Ms. Burke, owns property adjacent to each other, and she's looking to consolidate both of those lots to build an addition on her property.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions from council?
If it's a residential, I know we asked for a presentation. Is that okay to waive that requirement for this type of action?
They presented to the planning commission and the staff report should suffice.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion, please.
Then I will move to approve the Burke Consolidation Plan Minor Subdivision Block Lot 828-A-97 and 828-B-300.
And the second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions, all in favor of approving the Burke Consolidation Plan Minor Subdivision, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries.
Madam President, at this time, I will ask for a short executive session with our county.
Okay.
On the next agenda item.
Yes.
Okay. The legal advice regarding the Harmony Plan application.
Okay, at this time, council will adjourn at 8:30 p.m. for a brief executive session. Thank you. Would like to resume council here at 8:41 p.m. after a brief executive session to discuss legal questions. Moving on to item G of new business. We'd like to begin discussion of action concerning the Harmony Manor brand. There are 4 items in this. We will take these one at a time and allow for questions and discussion from council at each one. I know our and our engineer here to answer some questions from council as well. So let us begin with item I. If someone would like to make a motion, please. And remember, we make the motion so we can begin discussion. Or do you want to?
The applicant first.
Okay.
Yeah, I ask that the applicant comes up and gives a synopsis of the application, what you're requesting, and your justification for what you are requesting.
Okay, so my name is Katrina Hamel. I'm with Scheffler and Company, and Pool Construction owns the property in which they are developing. There are 12 properties, lots in total. One is an existing lot. The house will be kept, and 11 single-family residential lots are proposed. For each item, I'm not sure if you would like me to read the item and give justification, or if you would like to ask questions.
Would you prefer, Matt, how to present this?
My recommendation would be to kind of give a presentation, and at each point, whenever you get to a point where maybe you're discussing justification for a waiver, you explain why you're requesting it.
Okay. With Planning Commission and have been working with the engineer to address their comments for stormwater, as well as the notification requests. There's also a public recreation space area, and a stream that occupies about 2.5 acres of the total 8.58 acres. So of that, it would be about 6 acres that would be developed for residential development. The modifications for the slopes that's at the pond, the justification for that is geotechnical verified the factor of safety for 2 to 1. Justification. Also, it disturbances because 3 to 1 further down for disturbances. We are limited on the site itself, which is great because it offers a lot of ecological and good environment and space that can be protected. It also has a 25-foot setback that is a part of the ordinance that has been met. That is the reason for some of the justifications that we have today for lot 3 and lot 7. Lot 3 has a 2.5 times the lot. That one is a budding existing the existing home, and the difference is about 11 feet. So that's how much we're over, is about 11 feet to meet that 2.5. And it does have to do with the configuration of the existing home and trying to maintain the lot of that existing home as much as possible. Lots 7 and 8, they are the end of the cul-de-sac, and they are abutting the extreme that are being protected. And so that is the other reason. So larger lots, just to give a little, to give that particular area. There's also a pond in that area. The other modification is sidewalk. So they're all about, so the cul-de-sac is 460 feet long, and there's sidewalks on both sides. And as you come out onto Harmony Drive, the public part of the street that's paved, there would be sidewalk along that, as well as an ADA crosswalk over towards Woodland. The street to the left is also Harmony Drive. It's a private gravel drive with a very steep slope. It's probably 1.5 to having a sidewalk in the area. We looked at it a couple different ways. It would be a significant impact, and it would be hard to keep daily And I should say not updated, but maintenance when the road's next to it. And crest, that is essentially a partial gravel. It's gravel at the top, but it's kind of dirt gravel at the bottom. There's really
Crest Place or
I'm sorry, Bellcrest Place. I apologize. It's sidewalk in the woods, basically.
So it's a sidewalk that goes to nowhere.
That is correct. That is correct. But providing sidewalks where it makes sense for people to use the sidewalk in the community also connects directly to the recreation open space, which is a trail that is at the end of the cul-de-sac and goes down the hill and ties back into Harmony Drive at the end, like towards Potter. So there's actually a walk through down the trail to the stream, but it's protected to Harmony Drive and Drive at the base because it also abuts the property. So, I mean, those are the justifications for those three. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Second. I don't know about you, but I've never recreated in a wetland.
It's a walking trail, so it would be a trail after a, like for instance, if I go to Heartwood Acres, there are some dirt trails through the woods, there's some gravel trails through the woods, there's some trails through the woods. Sometimes I am walking down by creeks, some walking down by wetlands.
Yeah, but am I wrong to assume that this goes through the wetland?
So it's shown that it's actually it's on that hash line that you're referring to. That is actually 25-foot setback buffer shown on here. I can show you the drawing to see the drawing.
Okay, please.
Just trying to find a good view of it.
The other thing I noticed on your plan, you're gonna have some children in this cul-de-sac.
That is correct.
Okay, it's a private road, so that means that school buses will not be going up that private road. They will be picking up children at the end of the at the road end of Harmony Drive.
Are you talking about a private driver?
No, the cul-de-sac is a public.
Public road.
It is a public
Yes.
road.
Okay, let's, allow our presenter to finish and then we will, open up for questions from council, please.
He's gonna pull it up. Oh, and, yeah, you can see it there. I have the same issue. Yeah. Yes, so it's difficult to see the hexagonal hatch. The hexagonal hatch, that is the area that's dedicated for the trail that looks down through the stream and the wetland. It's just a motion to approve this thing based on contingency to finish addressing the town's engineer's comments. And this round of comments, the trees and landscape for this day or two, and just making sure. So trees and tree count, making sure that we're trees. Some couple of stormwater comments that the state also has their requirements, stringent town's requirements, And then so we do make sure that we coordinate with, system. Typically, the conservation district would like for us to have a plan that is before we submit, because it becomes very confusing. It takes too much effort on the part for us to send plans with revisions.
Thank you. And are there any other, you were here for our public comment, any items that you heard that haven't been previously addressed in planning, or I think there may have been something sort of like for wells, because that is a major issue for our here, clean drinking water. That's always a priority.
So we had a hydrologist involved. Storm. So they did potentially be affected, and they came up to that's would be responsibilities held by so the ones we tested before and after, and it's how deep the maximum is 20 feet on excavation. It doesn't impact the geotech reports, but to provide to your food, but also to make sure that everyone's safe and working.
About the first test. I'm not worried about the test after. The test after is normally when the project gets punched out, correct?
I will. Just sure that sustained.
Concerned about 2 years, 4 years, 5 years out, where this development could be tracked back to have tainted wells. That's a problem.
Yeah, I agree with you, sir. It's to create that problem. Specific tests that are done to provide permission of what's to
Okay, that's my question. And here it comes. Why can't we amend the developer's agreement to have, well testing, not just once before and once after, but spread it out 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? I think that makes sense.
I think it's a good sure that those criteria.
Mr. Wall, I think maybe we might want to hear from Kelly too on a couple of these items as well, if you don't mind, Katrina. Thank you.
Yes, I can speak to the well a little bit here. Unfortunately, the town ordinance does not have any criteria that does implement any sort of requirements for well testing. So private wells also that are through the PADP to obtain for those private wells. So we have asked the developer here is that basically from the residents around here to focus on associated with grading and stormwater management. So making sure that those are so they're not going to create impacts to the wells as much as we can. However, it's the addition to satisfy the health, safety, and general the town residents. So based off of something that we did receive a copy of between geologists that would show was to be tested after construction. For all strong recommendations. Consideration be added to reports as an inspect as part of the construction. So unfortunately, from the town, says don't have to say to do this testing, but strongly recommend to look out for it. It's interesting. And can do some sort of work. So I can tell you exactly what it is, but let's receive the success for these.
Is there a guide somewhere that can be addressed to say, you know, if there were going to be contamination, I mean, nobody can predict the future. Is there something like a standard that says this should be done every 2 years, every 5 years, or once we're 10 years past development, we're in the clear? Is there anything like that that exists?
There's information for testing systems, and that could be something that we could put some additional information on to specifics of some that can be shown as a guideline.
Does council have any other questions for Kelly Lithia?
I have a question for Katrina.
Okay.
So do I.
All right, we might be a little bit back and forth.
So, thank you. You indicated that it would be.
I'm sorry.
You said it would be written into the agreement that impact on the wells would be the responsible of the developer. What exactly do you mean by that? What part of, like, what are you going to be responsible for? When you say that it's going to be written into the agreement? You said that there are 3 wells identified with potential impact. You said it will be written into the agreement that it will be the responsibility of the developer to do what with those wells?
I really can't answer that question because it has to do with tend to damage wells. That's not the intention. Intention is to say, oh, sorry, your well's been damaged. I mean, obviously, the other protocol to follow. Call is, I personally am not knowledgeable of that call would be the hydrogeologist and guidance from the town as to what they think could be done. It's close by. There could be option, but I cannot speak on behalf of the developer, but the goal is to be responsible. That's the goal.
And then another question with modification request number 1. Do you think modification only at one site?
Is that the 2.5 times?
That's, yeah, no, that's the
slope. Yes, that is at the pond.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Wall?
Yeah, very rarely does a developer go out to try and destroy wells. Okay, so let's get that square. I'm looking for the construction company to step up and really ensure that the wells that are on these 3 properties are tested on a periodic basis to make sure that we're out of wells.
I have a question about the wording as well. You mentioned developer or owner of property.
Yes, it's the same.
Okay, that's what I'm making sure. It wasn't a new one.
You talked about a 2-to-1 grading ratio. We've talked about the wells. Let's talk about the sidewalks. I'm told that the school district will not drive up there with a bus because there's a cul-de-sac. So the kids are gonna have to be down on Harmony Road. They're gonna have to walk to a bus stop on Harmony Road. Wonderful. There's no place for them to stand. There's no pad. There's no nothing down there for the kids to stand. Keeping them off the roadway. That's essential.
There is a sidewalk that is extends all the way across. It's 5 feet wide. There's also a signage area that's directly in, so that there could be a pad area there for also standing.
I think a pad is a necessity for the safety of those children. And we don't know how many children there are going to be.
Correct.
When you say could be, there's not currently the intention of putting one.
Thanks right now. So, I'm
going to go for it all. You talked about a wetland. I'd like to see, and, I've voiced this before. I'd like to see a playground for this development. I mean, I know that that's not within it's not within our ordinances, but you should have a place for kids to play. We're worried about the traffic on Harmony and our Woodland. That takes care of a lot of that problem. Thank you.
And further,
Could we not achieve that goal by maybe we don't put a sidewalk in, but we put a path down from this development onto Harmony, and then Potter's Pond is
Potter's Pond's right there.
right there. I mean, that's like that's
This is just-
extreme.
This is a path to that.
So the path through the wetlands goes down to.
It's not adjacent, it's not the high side. It's not letting high side.
Yeah, but what you're telling me is you're gonna have a trail that goes out of the development, the Harmony line, so people can access Potter's Park.
It's a public location of space.
And how will maintenance, like long term on this trail, look like?
I mean, there would be,
Would that be the responsibility of the HOA?
Can I ask one quick clarification question? In those areas, I did not see a designated trail area through there, and I know that does traverse down the two-to-one slope. Is there a proposed access path that's going to be shown on a plan? What it would look like?
Some pathways in this point stage, which is shown to make sure that we're okay to be approved. Trails or take comments from council on commission. So we can define it from.
Okay, so access for the residents within the proposed neighborhood would be off of the cul-de-sac. They'd be able to access the trail from that location and go down through switchbacks or something. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that trail will be between property lines, so it will be accessible by everybody without going through somebody's yard.
That's correct. It's actually down the slope from, so it's on the down side. There's a 12-foot setback buffer in the yards. So there's all space. So
it'll be an easement, not a separate parcel.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. Any further question from council for Katrina? Okay. Anything, or
I'd actually like to see these plans in before we vote on this.
and remember, this is preliminary.
Okay.
These were a long way before approved plans.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
If you'd like, I can provide just like a summary of our outstanding comments, if that would assist.
That would be good.
This compared, since this is consideration for a preliminary approval. So with our outstanding comments, we did have some items related to the offset of existing trees that are to be removed on the site. So as Katrina mentioned to earlier, that's one item that they're working through to ensure that the landscape plan is adhering to the town's ordinances. In addition, we had some stormwater items still outstanding. One was related to volume calculations. The other is related to technical details of some of the berms that are shown on the plans. These are items that we feel do not impact the overall intent of the plan from a standpoint. They are more technical in nature and can be addressed with the items that we are proposing on the plan.
Kelly, I have a question for you. Under the new stormwater regulations, we're supposed to be reducing stormwater to 40% of what it would be normally?
No, not 40%. So there are different percentages for different release rate districts. So depending on where you are within watersheds, or certain certain percentages that if you're saying 10 CFS in existing conditions, you need to reduce that in your construction conditions. So there's a consistent analysis that is analyzed at the most downstream end. So in this case, one of the analysis points is down where that Bellcrest Place residence is. In that area, there is a point of interest that was analyzed. I know too that the town of McCandless has implemented in their last stormwater updates a 50% release rate for the 1 and 2 year storms. So any storm, which are our most common storms that we see, they're required to be adjusted. So 50% is what we're going to see in our post-construction conditions compared to what we see today. So that's just a brief summary of what those percentages look like.
So in layman's terms, the concerns about flooding, that the stormwater is going to be reduced by 50%.
For the 1 and 2 year storm, that's correct.
And then 64 Pine Creek.
Okay.
Requirements, yes.
Yeah, and those are items that are within the ordinance. They're not PADP standards. It's more localized. So it is more
stringent.
Correct. Yeah. I'll tell you, Abby from the Conservation District who covers this area has told me that Kansas stormwater this is pretty thorough, which is great feedback. So
thank you. And the other items on your letter?
Yeah, the other items, so we did get some of the site distance items addressed. However, did want to make sure that one additional is provided to ensure that there are no site distance constraints when a driver is looking along a hillside. So we need to make sure that there's no grades that are going to be with their line of sight. Finally, the sanitary connections into an existing line of Bellcrest. We want to make sure that those are legally approved to start of construction, since that's not, or that's still being finalized in relation to is accessible on Bellcrest right now. So that's one item flagged as well to make sure that is clear and addressed prior to construction. That is everything that I had as keynotes.
Mr. Clover?
I just wanted to chime in on that legal issue there. In the engineer's letter that the town attorney, et cetera, has made this determination. That is not the case. We are not the person that adjudicates property rights. That's the Court of Common Pleas for the developer and the neighbors. So I just want that to be on the record that nobody thinks that somehow we are making a decision one way or another. That's for you all to figure out. And if you do, you can bring that back to the town and then move forward with the plan.
Access there, but I'm that to the attorney.
So being approves that.
So we say the applicant shall confer the legal ability to access and perform within the sanitary mean and serving lot 7 that encroaches upon the privately owned portion of Bellcrest Place. So it needs to be.
My view is that the memo that was provided is not sufficient to establish that. Would have to be a written agreement, or there would need to be perhaps a court decision that would indicate that the rights exist. With a private, right? So they're the property rights into that drive. So
has access to some.
correct. That's exactly right. That they have the ability to access that for sanitary purposes.
So also, yeah.
Correct. Right.
What would be involved in doing a traffic study of Woodland and
Actually, we can touch on that. I have a few comments. I'll start with the comment regarding the traffic study. After our last few planning commission meetings, discussion with our town engineer, the town actually is having our traffic engineer take a look at the pre-existing conditions of the site. The way that the code is written for traffic studies, a development like this doesn't meet the threshold for the number of trips generated per day per hour. But after a lot of comments and driving over the site and you can see that there's some site distance that's pre-existing. So the town's actually going ahead and taking a look at the pre-existing conditions to have recommendations made to the town to make adjustments for what's existing to help enhance, the existing site and excite if a development like this would be proposed. So in terms of like a traffic study, the town's actually looking at the pre-existing conditions to make a recommendation if there needs to be additional signage with the private road. I think that this is probably seeing that there's a private road and a street there. It's just a tricky intersection and something that the town's going to be looking at. I did just note to follow up before we continue, Katrina. Kelly's we've mentioned a lot tonight about preliminary plans, and I'm just going to read an excerpt from the code just to clarify what the preliminary plan is typically, and a couple of others tonight that were minor plans. For major plans, like subdivisions and land developments, there's essentially two avenues. One is to go for a combined plan, which is both your preliminary final plan, you go through the whole process, it gets approved, and then you're good to go. Essentially, this process is the preliminary plan that gets an approval. And what that is the preliminary plan constitutes condition of the proposed subdivision with respect to the general design, character, intensity, and the approximate dimensions and other planned features, including streets and lots. Preliminary approval is the developer to the general scheme of the approval. It also goes on to add that if there's any major adjustments to a preliminary plan, that would constitute getting that the previous plan approved. To note those two items. The third item, there's a few comments regarding the lot size and the lot width. Just to clarify the town code, I would ask Kelly to give the engineering definition of what the lot width ratio is and how it's calculated. But essentially, at the front setback to the length of what the property is generally what the lot width ratio is, and I can clarify a little more about.
No, that's correct. Yeah, and the goal of it is to avoid and prevent any irregular lot sizes, or excuse me, lot shapes to be created. So that's kind of the goal of the intent of that section of the ordinance.
And so to clarify, a few comments regarding the actual size of the lots. Every lot that is shown in this development plan meets the criteria for what's recommended for minimum lot sizes within the district. So the request that they're asking is for the ratio for the width. And you can see on this plan, it's a little bit hard to see these two to the north. The scale properties that aren't as wide, a lot of those properties ratio to the standards of today, because that's what was adopted in the 23 code. And it's meant to do, the purpose of that code line is to not allow for someone to develop a skinny property that goes for a mile, like try to build multiple houses or multiple properties. So the whole purpose of that, the purpose of to the planning commission for recommending this for this development is that when I look at the lots on this plan, the sizing, and they look like lots. So that's kind of, I just want to clarify that, because it isn't that they're asking for smaller lots, they're asking for different size shape lots comparable to the new zoning code. Excuse me, zoning development code. Just to clarify a few of those items. So questions regarding those?
Thank you, man. I recall that there were a couple of what we call the flag lots, and this was to avoid that, where someone subdivide their big lot and just have a teeny skinny little driveway as the frontage, and then the bigger lot in the back. And that's what this part of the code was addressing.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Further questions from council for? Thank you. Thank you for clarifying a lot of these concerns. I know we, as council, myself, Mr. Wall, we did attend the last two planning meetings, hearing lots of concern from the residents in the area. So trust me when we say we're giving this a lot of thought. So if there's no further discussion or questions, we will move on to a motion. Maybe I would like to start.
I move to approve modification request number one from 1705.06A to allow fill slopes of 2:1, code requirement maximum fill slope 3:1, as shown on the submitted plans with the supporting geotechnical report.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Jinx.
Nope. All right, Hickerson. Thank you. Any further discussion from council or questions about this motion?
I think Laureen's question about the developer's responsibility and that going unanswered, even for a preliminary preliminary plan is important. If, you know, everyone makes mistakes, if the geologist got something wrong, how are the people affected made whole? I think that that's something that we should be considering from the outset of the plan, even if it is preliminary.
Thank you for your comment. Anything further? Okay, we have a motion and a second, to approve modification request number one. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Roll call. Okay, Ward 1 is not here, so Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Ward 5.
Aye.
Ward 6.
Nay.
Ward 7 is an aye. The ayes have it. It is 5-1. Okay, moving forward to motion to approve modification request number 2. May we have a motion, please?
I'll make it. Motion to approve modification request number 2 from 1104.130B2 to allow the depth of a lot for single family lots to 2.5 times its width at the front setback line as shown on the submitted plans.
Thank you. And we have a motion. Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion about the width ratio?
As well as the accepted. The accepted protocols. Of these lots are meeting our standard. Are they meeting our standard?
Let's meet the standard with the request to have the width ratio exceed 2.5 times, which is what the request is. Other than that, they meet the standards for all requirements. You're talking about minimum requirements for sizing, we do meet that standard.
Okay, thank you.
Any further question or comments?
I agree that they do look normal, as you state, but also that's subjective, and I would prefer we stick with the letter.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further questions or discussion, we have a motion on the table to approve modification request number 2. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Roll call, please.
Okay, for 2.
No.
For 3.
Aye.
4.
Nay.
Ward 5.
Nay.
Ward 6.
Nay.
Ward 7 is aye. That is. What is it? 4 in favor, 4 opposed, 2 in favor. Motion fails. Okay, now we move on to motion to approve or deny modification request number 3. Can we have a motion, please?
Madam President, point of procedure. If I wanted to modify this motion, do I have to wait until the motion is made as it's written?
If you make the modified motion, you may do so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I move to approve modification request number 3 from 1104.230A2 to allow a waiver of the sidewalk requirement along the adjacent private rights of way as shown on the plan, with the understanding that possible future installation of sidewalks adjacent to the development are to be funded by the developer.
Second.
Okay, any discussion, questions from council? The motion as read by Ms. Alt.
Roll call, please.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, Ward 2? Aye. Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4?
Aye.
Ward 5?
Aye.
Ward 6?
Aye.
Ward 7 is aye. So we need to make sure you have that. Did you write that in your notes? You can
Yes.
share it by end?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, finally,
Need to be a table since number 2 didn't get approved.
okay. So, we need a motion to table item 4 because motion 2 did not get approved.
I make a motion to table PLC 26-10 Harmony Manor Plan Preliminary Subdivision and Land Development. Block and lot 943-G-172, 943-G-175, 943-G-224, and 943-G-239, subject to addressing all outstanding comments in the town engineering memo dated June 17th, 2026, and all subsequent memos.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. We have a motion. Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholson. Okay, no discussion? Okay, all in favor of tabling, PSC 26-10. Roll call has been requested. Ward 2. Aye. Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4.
Aye.
Ward 5.
Aye.
Ward 6.
Aye.
Ward 7 is aye. Motion carries to table 6-0. Okay, thank you, everyone. I think we're working through this and learning a lot and hopefully getting to where everybody we'll be able to work together here. Moving on to public comment for non-agenda items. If anybody would like to make a comment on a non-agenda item, please step forward.
Good evening. Thank you for your efficiency in all of these items and a lot of thought being done here. My name is Deborah Sagan and I reside at Parkland Drive. And I wanted to make a general comment on bicycle safety, not particularly related to the electronic bikes, but touching on that, I guess. I was part of the implementable plan back in 2019, as some other people on council were. And there was a connectivity plan with action plans in the implementable plan that we had for bicycle lanes. And I think that this would address a lot of the issues that we're talking about in our community. McCandless does not have, to my knowledge, any bicycle lanes, except for the North Park Loop, of course. We're seeing a lot more bicyclists, motorized and not motorized, and we need to accommodate them on our roads. Give it some thought. This would eliminate a lot of issues that we're talking about. Bikes are not permitted on sidewalks. When we installed the Grubbs Road sidewalk, there was a plan to establish a bike lane right next to the sidewalk. That was tabled because at that time, a council member said nobody rides bicycles. As you know, I might disagree with that. It would provide bicycle lanes and more pedestrian sidewalks, would provide more protection for pedestrians as well as cyclists, motorized or not. Also, I'd like to hear council be firm on that ordinance regarding sidewalks. 1104.230 parentheses 3. It disappoints me when I hear variances and modifications given for that particular ordinance. Because as Mr. Wall pointed out, we need places for our children to catch the bus where they're protected. We don't want a fatal incident in McCandless. We've had one in the past few years, and we don't want another one, and especially not a child. So no variances or modifications for the sidewalk. And lastly, something that I've talked to our town manager about was paving of Ingomar Road. I'm well aware that that is a state road. However, hopefully, we can communicate with PennDOT and get Ingomar Road paved. I was told when I called District 11 that that road carries as much traffic as McKnight Road, which shocked me. And I don't know if any of you are aware of that. However, once again, it seems like it was tabled and it's not going to be paved. And I do ride a bicycle on Ingomar Road to get to North Park, so I can ride on a dedicated bicycle path. So Ingomar Road, please put that, somebody contact PennDOT and see if we can get that paved. Also, there's a small issue with Blazer Drive at the very end where it approaches Ingomar Road has not been paved since the new development has occurred. It is very dangerous. It's like the Oregon Trail, Ingomar Road and that little spot there. I have a car that has low profile tires, and many people do. Every time I go through there and I make a right-hand turn, it's very dangerous and it can cause damage to vehicles as well as bicycles. So I hope the two communities can communicate, the two entities can communicate. And please, please consider, once again, the sidewalk issues in McCandless and the bike lanes. It's appalling to me that we do not have any bicycle lanes in McCandless with the way the world is moving. We need to protect all pedestrians and cyclists. So thank you. That's about all I have. There were action plans though in the,
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
in the implementable plan.
Thank you. Ellen, 635 Old Puma Road, Allison Park, PO 15101. I just wanted to say how happy I am to live so close to the North Park pool. Now that it's swim season, it's great that part of North Park is in McCandless. That's an amazing pool. The width of the pool is twice the length of most pools. So I just wanted to take a moment. Sometimes we forget how important North Park is. My second thing is I'm going to ask you to repeal the strategic plan that you voted on last week for the following reasons. One, it was the meeting that produced the strategic plan was a violation of the Sunshine Act. There was no agenda, there are no minutes. It also violated the town code. All meetings are to be held at town hall except for emergency meetings, and all meetings are to have minutes. There are no minutes. And the strategic plan is not accurate in the sense that it said that the comprehensive plan had no action items, and the comprehensive plan was the implementable comprehensive plan and definitely came with action items. So I wouldn't want to see council passing something that was not accurate because it says that the strategic plan was necessary because the implementable comprehensive plan had no action items, and it did. It does. So thank you very much. Thank you for your comments. There any more public comments on non-agenda items at this time? Okay, can we have a motion? We're gonna adjourn to executive session.
Police, we're gonna talk about the police collective bargaining agreement.
To speak about the police collective bargaining agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is second. Moving to executive session. Respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Being here this evening.